Welcome back, everyone, to another exploration in our Wisdom of the Philosopher series.
It's great to be here.
Today, we're stepping into ancient Athens, right into Plato's Symposium. And this isn't some dry text.
Not at all. It's set at a drinking party, a symposium. Lively conversation is the whole point.
Exactly. A group of notable Athenians, each giving a speech about Eros, about love.
And what a group. You've got Phaedrus, Pausanias, Eryximachus the doctor, Aristophanes a playwright.
Agathon the host, Socrates, of course, and even a rather memorable entrance by Alcibiades later on.
Definitely memorable. Drunkenly memorable, you could say.
Ah, indeed. So our goal today is really to unpack the ideas swirling around that night.
Looking at the different angles they took on love, desire, what it all means.
From the very physical to the highly philosophical. We want to explore those enduring questions about loving and being loved.
And see what insights still resonate from this ancient conversation.
Before we begin, if you enjoy these explorations, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel.
And hitting that notification bell means you won't miss our future journeys into philosophy. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.
Okay, so the discussion kicks off with Phaedrus. Where does he start us off?
Phaedrus sets the stage by emphasizing love's ancient origins. He points to poets, Hesiod, and others as proof.
So love is one of the oldest gods, maybe the oldest.
That's his argument. And crucially, he focuses on the benefits of love.
Benefits like how?
Primarily how it instills a sense of honor and, perhaps more importantly, shame.
Shame. How so?
Well, he argues you'd feel much worse being caught doing something cowardly or disgraceful by your lover than by anyone else. Family, friends, whoever.
Ah, I see. So love acts as a kind of moral compass enforced by the beloved's gaze.
Precisely. It elevates behavior, encourages virtuous action. He even has this quite striking image.
The army of lovers.
Exactly. He suggests an army made up entirely of lovers, and their beloveds would be basically unbeatable.
Because they'd fight so bravely to impress or at least not disappoint each other.
That's the idea. Maximum courage, minimum cowardice, driven by this mutual bond.
Does he give examples?
He does. He mentions Alcestis, who willingly died for her husband Admetus. The gods were so impressed they brought her back.
The ultimate act of devotion.
Then he contrasts her with Orpheus, who, went to the underworld but wasn't willing to die himself for Eurydice.
So he only got a glimpse, a shadow of her. Less courageous, less rewarded.
Right. And then there's Achilles and Patroclus. Achilles avenging Patroclus, knowing it meant his own death.
And Phaedrus notes something interesting there about the gods' reaction.
Yes, that the gods seem to honor the beloved's love, like Achilles' devotion to Patroclus, even more highly sometimes. It's a subtle point.
So love as an ancient, powerful, virtue-instilling force, that's Phaedrus' opening salvo.
That's the gist of it. But then Pausanias steps in and says, hold on, it's not quite that simple.
Right. Pausanias wants to make a distinction.
A crucial one. He says we need to differentiate between two kinds of love, just like there are two Aphrodites.
Okay, explain that. Two Aphrodites.
Yeah, there's Aphrodite Urania, or heavenly Aphrodite, born from Uranus alone, older, motherless.
And the other?
Aphrodite Pandemos, common Aphrodite, younger, daughter of Zeus and Dione.
And these two represent two different types of love.
Exactly. Heavenly love, associated with Urania, is noble. It's directed towards males in his context, focused on intelligence and virtue.
And aiming for a lasting relationship, intellectual connection.
Yes, lifelong faithfulness, devoid of simple lust. It's about improving the soul, both the lovers and the beloveds. It's quite specific to Athenian social norms of the time, we should add.
Understood. And the common love.
That's linked to Pandemos. It's coarser, purely physical, focused on gratification.
And directed towards?
Towards women and boys, Pausanias says. Less discerning, just seeking pleasure, not necessarily virtue or lasting connection.
So clear hierarchy. One noble and focused on the mind, the other base and focused on the body.
That's Pausanias' framework. He also notes how attitudes towards male relationships varied.
Oh, geographically.
Yeah. Some places like Boeotia were apparently more accepting, while Ionia and non-Greek cultures often disapproved.
Why the disapproval? Any reasons given?
Sometimes political fears. He mentions Harmodius and Eryximachus, the lovers who killed a tyrant in Athens. Some saw such bonds as potentially threatening to established power.
Interesting how politics weaves into it. Okay, so we have Phaedrus' praise, then Pausanias' division, then comes Aristophanes.
Ah, yes. Aristophanes completely changes the tone. He offers this absolutely fantastic myth.
Not so much a philosophical argument, but a story.
A creation myth, almost, to explain why we love. He says humans weren't always like we are now.
How were we originally?
There were 3 sexes, male, female, and androgynous, a combination of both. And they were round.
Round?
Yes.
Yeah.
4 arms, 4 legs, 2 faces looking opposite ways on one head.
Yeah.
Very strong, very fast, rolling around.
Sounds efficient.
And powerful.
So powerful they tried to climb Mount Olympus and attack the gods.
Uh-oh. How did the gods handle that? Zeus, presumably. Zeus had a problem. Didn't want to wipe them out. No more sacrifices, you see. But couldn't let them rebel.
So the solution...
Slice them in half. Right down the middle. Weakened them and conveniently doubled the number of worshippers.
Ouch. Practical, I suppose, in a brutal divine way.
And then Apollo had to sort of tidy things up,
Uh-huh.
turn their faces around, pulled the skin together, tied it off at the navel as a reminder of what happened.
The belly button as a divine scar. And the result of this splitting.
Everlasting longing. Each half desperately searches for its other specific half, that feeling of incompleteness we sometimes have. That's it, according to Aristophanes.
The search for our soulmate, literally our other half.
Exactly. And this explains different orientations, too. Halves from an original male-male pair seek men, female-female seek women, androgynous seek the opposite sex.
It's an incredibly imaginative way to explain desire and connection.
It defines love as this fundamental drive for wholeness, to return to that original state.
There's also a warning in there, isn't there?
Oh, yes. A warning from Zeus, via Aristophanes, that if humans don't behave, he might just split us again. Then we'd be hopping around on one leg.
Yikes. A strong incentive to be pious, and he suggests finding that perfect match is rare.
He does seem to imply that true, complete reunion doesn't happen often in this divided world. It's quite poignant, actually.
Definitely. Okay, after that imaginative flight, we get Agathon, the host. His turn.
And Agathon, being a tragic poet, delivers a very flowery and eloquent speech. But his focus shifts.
How so?
Instead of talking about the effects of love or its origins, he praises the god love himself.
Personifying love as a deity, what qualities does he give this god?
Oh, only the best. Love is the youngest of the gods, the most beautiful, the most virtuous.
Youngest? Why youngest?
Because, Agathon argues, the terrible things the older gods did to each other happened out of necessity before love existed to bring harmony.
Interesting logic. Where does this beautiful young god dwell?
In soft places, he says. In the hearts and souls of gods and men, but only the gentle ones. He's flexible, graceful, lives among flowers.
Sounds lovely. And virtuous how? What virtues does love possess or inspire?
All of them, according to Agathon. Justice, because love never does or suffers wrong willingly. Temperance, because love masters all other desires. Courage, because love even conquered Eros, the god of war.
Wow, love conquers war.
In Agathon's view, yes. And wisdom, too. Love makes poets, inspires arts and crafts. He's the great harmonizer, pilot, defender, savior.
It's a beautiful, almost perfect picture he paints.
Almost too perfect, perhaps. Which is where Socrates usually comes in.
Right. Socrates isn't just going to let that stand unchallenged, is he?
Not a chance. He starts, very politely, of course, by questioning Agathon. Did Agathon just say nice things about love, or did he describe love truthfully?
The Socratic method begins. Where does he lead Agathon?
He gets Agathon to agree that love is always love of something. And usually it's love of something you lack.
You don't desire what you already possess.
Exactly. So if love desires beauty, as Agathon claimed,
Yeah.
can love itself be beautiful? Or must it lack beauty?
Tricky. So, love desires the beautiful and therefore must lack it.
That's the conclusion Socrates guides Agathon towards. And since the beautiful is also the good, love must also desire and therefore lack the good.
So much for Agathon's perfectly beautiful and good god love.
Quite the shift. And then Socrates says, actually, I learned most of what I know about love from someone else.
This is where Diotima comes in.
Yes, Diotima of Mantua, a wise woman, a priestess perhaps, who Socrates claims was his instructor in the arts of love.
And what did she teach him? Does she agree love isn't a god?
She does. She says love isn't a god, but also not mortal. Love is a daemon.
A spirit, an intermediary.
Precisely. A great spirit bridging the gap between gods and humans, interpreting and conveying messages, prayers upwards, commands downwards.
Keeping the universe connected.
Right. Essential for prophecy, rituals, all divine communication.
Does she offer a different origin story for love? Not Agathon's young god?
A very different one. A myth about love's conception.
Oh, tell us about that.
On the day Aphrodite was born, the gods were feasting. Poros, who represents resource or plenty, got drunk on nectar and passed out in Zeus's garden.
Okay.
Then Pausania, poverty or need, came begging at the feast. Seeing Poros asleep, she lay down with him and conceived love.
So love's parents are plenty and poverty. What does that imply about love's nature?
It explains love's intermediate nature. Like his mother, love is always needy, rough, homeless, yearning. But like his father, love is resourceful, scheming, always after the beautiful and good, a hunter.
Constantly lacking, constantly striving. That fits the earlier point about desiring what one lacks.
Exactly. And born on Aphrodite's birthday, love is inherently drawn to beauty. Also, Diotima says, love is a philosopher.
A philosopher? How?
Because philosophy is the love of wisdom. Wisdom is beautiful and good. Love desires the beautiful and good. But love isn't wise. The gods are wise. Love isn't ignorant either. The ignorant don't know, they lack wisdom.
So love, like the philosopher, is in between ignorance and wisdom, always striving for it.
That's Diotima's point. Always pursuing, never fully possessing.
So what is the ultimate object of love, according to Diotima? It's not just beauty.
It's the desire for the good. And crucially, the desire to possess the good forever.
Forever. How is that possible for mortals?
Through procreation. Giving birth. Whether physically or intellectually.
Creating children or creating ideas, works of art, laws, ways to achieve a kind of immortality.
Yes, it's the mortal way of participating in the eternal. We seek to leave something lasting behind, born out of our love for the good and beautiful.
And this leads to her famous idea of the ascent, the ladder of love.
Indeed. The famous ladder of ascent. It starts with loving one beautiful body.
The physical attraction.
Then realizing beauty exists in all bodies, moving beyond obsession with just one.
Okay, broadening the appreciation.
Then appreciating the beauty of souls, of minds, as more valuable than physical beauty.
Moving inward towards character and intellect.
From there, appreciating the beauty in laws, institutions, and practices, the things that shape good souls.
Seeing beauty in social order and good conduct.
Then, the beauty of knowledge, of the sciences, understanding the patterns and truths of the world.
Intellectual beauty. And the final step.
Finally, ascending to grasp beauty itself. Absolute, pure, eternal, unchanging beauty. The form of beauty.
The ultimate source of all particular beauties we encounter.
That's the ultimate goal of philosophical love for Diotima and Socrates. A truly profound vision.
Absolutely. A journey from the physical to the purely abstract and divine. Just as this deep philosophical point lands.
Ham. Alcibiades crashes the party. Literally.
Drunk, crowned with ivy, supported by flute girls. Quite the entrance.
He disrupts the orderly speeches completely. Initially, he wants to praise Agathon, who just won a poetry prize.
But then he spots Socrates.
And Eryximachus cleverly suggests that instead of praising love again, Alcibiades should praise Socrates.
And Alcibiades, despite being drunk, agrees.
Oh, he jumps at the chance. But warns them he'll only speak the truth, even if it sounds like mockery.
And how does he praise Socrates? It's not conventional, is it?
Not at all. He compares Socrates to Selena statues.
Those little figures that looked, well, maybe ugly or comical on the outside.
Exactly. But when you open them up, they contain beautiful, divine images inside. That's Socrates, Alcibiades says. Unattractive exterior, divine interior.
A backhanded compliment, maybe?
And also to the satyr Marsyas. Marsyas charms people with his flute, but Socrates, Alcibiades says, charms people just with his words, affecting their very souls, making them feel ashamed of their way of life.
So Socrates' words have this powerful, almost magical effect.
Deeply unsettling, apparently. Alcibiades shares personal anecdotes, too.
About Socrates' character.
Yes. His incredible endurance, standing, thinking all night, marching barefoot in winter during military campaigns like Pausanias, his bravery at the Battle of Delium.
Painting a picture of extraordinary self-control and focus.
But then it gets very personal. Alcibiades confesses something quite revealing.
What's that?
His own attempts to seduce Socrates, believing his own youthful beauty could capture the philosopher.
How did that go?
It failed completely. Socrates was completely unfazed, interested only in Alcibiades' potential for virtue, not his physical charms.
That must have been quite a shock for the famously attractive Alcibiades.
He admits it left him feeling deeply ashamed, realizing the superficiality of his own values compared to Socrates' wisdom. He feels like a slave to popular opinion, even though he knows Socrates is right.
A really raw, honest confession, caught between admiration for Socrates and the lure of worldly success.
It's incredibly powerful. He says Socrates is utterly unique, unlike any human, past or present. It's a painful, loving, complex tribute.
Wow. What a way to cap off the speeches. How does the symposium wrap up after that?
Things get a bit chaotic. More people arrive, drinking continues. The structured speeches dissolve.
But there's a final philosophical note.
Right at the very end, as dawn breaks, only Socrates, Agathon, and Aristophanes are still awake. And Socrates is arguing, trying to convince them.
Convince them of what?
That the same person should be able to write both comedy and tragedy. That the genius of one implies the potential for the other.
Interesting, linking those two seemingly opposite forms.
Then the others finally fall asleep. Socrates gets up, goes to the Lyceum, washes, spends the day as normal, and then goes home in the evening. Business as usual after a night of profound discussion and heavy drinking.
Incredible stamina. So looking back at the whole dialogue,
Plato gives us this amazing spectrum. Love isn't just one thing. It ranges from physical desire to the search for one's other half, to civic virtue, to the highest philosophical ascent towards the form of the good and beautiful.
it connects our deepest physical urges to our highest spiritual aspirations.
And Socrates, particularly through Alcibiades' speech, embodies a kind of self-mastery that seems key to his wisdom and influence. That control over base desires allows for the pursuit of higher ones.
Maybe the highest love Plato envisions is that love of abstract ideals, truth, goodness, beauty itself.
It seems that way. The dialogue blends seriousness and jest, myth and argument, but beneath it all is this profound exploration of love as central to the human condition, driving us towards meaning and perhaps even a form of immortality.
It's truly extraordinary how relevant these ideas still feel. As we finish exploring Plato's Symposium in our Wisdom of the Philosophers series, you can really see why it continues to fascinate.
Absolutely. The sheer variety of perspectives, from Phaedrus' heroic love to Diotima's ladder, gives you so much to think about regarding your own views on love and desire.
It really invites you to consider what drives you, what forms love takes in your life, and what you ultimately seek through connection.
A timeless invitation to self-reflection, really.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey back to ancient Athens. We strongly encourage you to read the Symposium for yourself if you haven't already.
And let us know what resonated most with you. Which speech, which idea. Share your thoughts down in the comments.
Yes, please do. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more philosophical explorations, and click the notification bell so you're always updated.
Thanks for joining us today.